Welcome to Bus Speakers. I'm Kush.
I'm Alex.
And I'm Cam.
And today we're going to be reviewing Kehlani, SweetSexySavage. Kehlani is an R&B artist, and this is her second album. I think she signed a HBK gang with other artists like Sage the Gemini and so on.
Well, technically it's her debut. Like, she released at least one mixtape before this, but this is like her proper debut.
Oh, okay, so it's a proper debut. I thought this was... Okay, so this album was too long and too boring. It's clocking in over an hour, and a lot of these songs are just trap influenced R&B songs that get repetitive over time, and I just kind of got upset. So I've heard the song Distraction before, not knowing it was by Kehlani, and I thought that was a pretty interesting song, and it was unique and it was fun, but almost every song on here sounds like Distraction, and kind of upsetting that it becomes so repetitive and boring.
Well, when you say upset, you weren't like in tears over it, I hope.
No. I thought it sounded
No.
fine for the most part. I just wish that it didn't sound the same for the most part.
Yeah, I don't think anyone has really been in tears over how an album sounded, to be fair. That's like something I can't imagine.
What about Jacob Sartorius? I was crying for a little bit.
I was crying from the brilliance.
This is the sort of album I think I could bear or enjoy more because I've had experiences with Taylor Swift, Carly Rae Jepsen, Grimes, and Alia. She's an artist who I think has really influenced Kehlani. I think she's actually said a few times, and plus she actually samples Alia on 2 songs on here, which was kind of interesting. Only on 5 songs altogether. I'd say this is the sort of album that's easy to listen to but hard to dissect because there
very
isn't
surface
much
level.
to say.
Yeah,
It's very surface level. Yeah, and I mean, you have an album full of a lot of pretty good, I'd say personally, all R&B poppy songs, pretty much always explicit lyrically. They're all very catchy and have some pretty good vocals and beats, but it's not doing anything new or exciting.
That's true.
But I have to say, there are some astonishingly good songs on here. Like, I was amazed by how... I think it was just because they were sitting next to some maybe filler songs that they seemed better than they were. But I re-listened to them by themselves and they still held up, so... I'm okay with this album, you know? I don't mind it. And the only problem I had was, if we're going to go into the problems, the incessant overuse of, like, male backing vocals on songs that were clearly vocal processed or modulated in some way. And I know it's in almost every chart hit that has these like backing vocals in some way, but she used them a bit too much, I think.
Yeah, my general impression of this album mainly had to do with the songwriting. I was struck by the fact that most of these songs have like very simplistic, lyrically simplistic and repetitive choruses and music to match. And it's like a lot of the time, like I'd say most of the time, the instrumentation and the melodies of the verses are really good. But then you get to the chorus and it just completely collapses on itself every single time. And that was really disappointing, and it almost got upsetting toward, I don't know, maybe about the halfway point of the album, because, let me check, whereabouts did I notice it first? I don't know, maybe, around Undercover, or, something like that, but it's just, like, really disappointing that, you know, she shows a lot of promise, like I was saying, in the verses, and then just can't follow through with it in the choruses. And if it only happened once or twice, then I might think it was a specific artistic decision for those songs, or if it didn't work, then I would assume it was just like, you know, a little bit of laziness that snuck in, and, you know, if everything else on the album was good enough, I could forgive it. But it just happened so often, it was confusing.
That's a problem I've noticed with a lot of pop, is that people are afraid to go all out in the chorus for some reason. And that's why a lot of the big pop chart singles have these beat drops at the end of each not catchy chorus to make it a superficial level of catchiness that isn't there. I mean, if they were performing acoustic versions of these songs, they're just not catchy in the chorus.
Yeah, I don't think that even like the drops that like whenever she would use a drop or anything like that, I don't think they even elevated the song that much. Like the choruses had no memorable lines, melodies, or hooks, and then the drop is just like, you know, we're building up, and then it's the build up and the drop, just because that's what songs do these days.
Yeah, that's how I felt throughout almost the entire album. For a lot of these songs were similar in terms of just the composition, like 2 verses, 2 choruses, and there's like a mini so electronic instrumental part. But there's a song like where is it? Everything Is Yours. It's probably my I hated that song the most on this album.
Yeah, that's probably my least favorite as well.
I like the somber tone because like the other songs were all more like upbeat, so the somber tone was a nice switch up. But Jesus Christ, the lyrics are disgusting on this record, on this one. She said the word shoddy like 3,000 times.
Yeah, I noticed that as well.
I haven't heard that since Chris Brown back in like 2007, and I don't know why. Also, Do You Dirty. I don't know why people still use just the letter U when they've spelled out everything else in the song. Like I know Kendrick Lamar did it on his album. He just put the letter U in the title, but I think that was a decision because he had the letter I as another track title, and I think that it worked out for him. But I think this was just kind of lazy and it didn't really work. My favorite song on the entire record. Well, okay, let me talk about something. The intro was super cool.
Yeah.
The intro was really cool. I liked it. She had a very meaningful poetry going on, and she had a slight delay with a loop of her own voice that had this echo and really punched you in the face. And I was like, wow, lyrically she's talented and she has this like just great talent for writing. And then these other songs just kind of got lazy in terms of lyrics, and they were very surface level.
I don't get it, because that intro was like a great mission statement for the album, I thought, when I heard that.
Yeah, and she got lazy throughout it, and the music became very similar and very generic compared to what like the intro provided. And the only song that blew me away besides Distraction was Hold Me by the Heart.
Right.
Hold Me by the Heart was like a soft love song that sounded really gorgeous, and she had acoustics in it and piano instead of just like the EDM type music, and I think that almost suited her better than the EDM type music. And she held that note for so long, and I was so impressed by she held that note. I was like, damn, holy shit. And wow, that was the one song that I really enjoyed, like beyond all the other ones. But yeah.
Yeah.
Actually,
my favorite song. Oh, sorry.
I actually didn't enjoy that song because it was like so. I mean, it was like so different from the rest of the album, like with the modern just pop R&B trap influence. But it was like just really generic, just as a piano ballad, I thought, and it just stood out in kind of the worst way for me.
I can see where it gets generic, but I think it was a good change in the aspect of the rest of the album. It was a good change up, and I think I enjoyed listening to that.
2 songs on here that I had a problem with. Well, a few, but 2 that are linked together is that song and what's it called? Escape. These 2 both sound like teen pop songs to me.
Yeah.
Because they have the inoffensive guitar chords and they're like playground, schoolyard type lyrics because they're not explicit compared to the rest of this album lyrically. And, you know, it has lyrics like Hold Me by the Heart is very inoffensive and teenage pop type lyric level.
So you're calling me a snowflake, that's what you're saying.
Oh, I don't know what that means, but okay. Pop, I think it's because people like Justin Bieber and Corey Taylor have the sort of status quo for vocals on teen pop songs are like pop soul in a way, like they like to sing in that way. And this just sounds exactly the same to me.
Wait,
even though Kehlani's probably better.
Did you say Corey Taylor?
Slipknot,
he not
Corey
like...
Taylor?
Oh, I'm thinking of some Cody Simpson. That's who I was thinking of.
Corey Taylor's
Oh.
from Slipknot. I was like, holy shit, he's
No,
not a teen pop.
sorry.
Dude, Corey Taylor follows me on Twitter. Don't diss Corey Taylor. He's gonna come after me.
No, I was thinking of Cody Simpson. I don't know these people like really, so I can't remember who they are.
I kind of want a Corey Taylor teen pop album now. Can we get that trending on Twitter?
Yeah, let's get that going.
But yeah. Besides that,
The song Undercover, this has something that I don't like about certain producers, and she had quite a few different ones on this album I noticed, but this is like where they say their name before the first verse, the producer's name.
Yeah.
And I get that they want to leave their mark on the produced track, maybe to like break out and become more of a known name, but that's not their job. Their job is to produce the track. So hearing an odd Charlie at the start is just not... I just don't like it. It's not as bad as on a mixtape by Future, where the producer Zaytoven, even though he produced every song on it, had some kid going like Zaytoven at the start of each song, which just made it really jarring and weird. And I don't. Why do they have to have this unique mark on songs they produced? It's as if their production style's only serviceable, so they want to do something.
Yeah, with
like that.
Same thing with like Metro Boomin does that all the time on songs. Like that.
I don't get why.
If you're
Other than-
Metro,
well, I get
don't
why,
trust you,
but I
I'm
don't
gonna
like
shoot
it.
you. But
Yeah, I know why they do it. I just don't like it. I
that's
guess.
that's fair. I think
Apparently, that also had a writing credit from Bob Marley, but I don't think he's going to rise from the dead to write on a generic R&B song. And I couldn't figure out any sample of his on it, so
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
the only other songs that really just got me kind of annoyed was I Wanna Be, because they had the chipmunk vocals, and you know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
But like so one of the lyrics in that was tell me what I gotta do to keep you coming back, and I immediately thought make unique music in shorter albums.
Yeah.
But then the last song was Gangsta from the Suicide Squad movie. I remember liking this song much more than I did in this album context. I don't remember why, but I think just because I've heard the same style over and over again throughout the album, I thought that it wasn't as impressive as it was on the Suicide Squad track listing.
Yeah. We're being pretty negative, but I actually liked quite a few songs on here. You know, Keep On, Distraction, and I thought Peace of Mind has some great... she had another vocalist, Lil Sims. I thought they duetted together pretty decently. And my favourite song on here is probably Advice, because I love the moody atmosphere. It's just so grainy and layered, production-wise, that just after hearing so many generic songs together, that this was just amazing. She's singing nearly 3 different hooks in the chorus. You know, she's singing slowly, take my own, and it's time to take my own advice. Being sung in completely different keys and creating something really infectious. And it's the first time I'm really impressed by her vocals. I really like it. You know, she's talking about having to take her own advice to leave some man who isn't treating her right or isn't treating her well enough. And, you know, maybe female empowerment songs, you know, they can be okay. If this is what they can sound like sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that her vocals were really good in most of these songs, and the production was pretty good in most of these songs.
Yeah.
My biggest problem was that it was repetitive, and that's not a bad thing, because a lot of these songs you can listen to alone and it'd be fine. But as an album compositionally, it was kind of repetitive. But I think she was going for more of like the radio hits anyways, because a lot of these are very radio hits kind of songs.
One song I had another problem with was Too Much, because this had an interpolation of Alia's More Than a Woman. It basically had
that one.
No, but it had exact same vocal melody. And sometimes people can get away with it, like Coolio with Gangsta's Paradise basically took the vocal melody of Stevie Wonder's Pastime Paradise, but he did make it another whole song, so it's generally people are okay with that. But you know, this is there's no reason for this. The lyrics aren't as good. It doesn't have as good of a funky instrumental. It doesn't sound as good production-wise because it didn't have who's it, Timbaland producing it? Who produced all Valley's stuff.
Produce music?
Yeah.
He did in 2001 for her. And this is just a redundant song because it doesn't add anything. All it does is take a vocal melody for another song. So even though I like that melody a lot, you know, it's one of my favourite pop songs from the early 2000s, I just didn't appreciate it hearing it like this. And again, I noticed Thank You is the last song on the actual album because I think the Gangsta was on the deluxe edition.
I didn't listen to the last 2 tracks that you guys did.
Yeah, I didn't really, only once. Another piano-driven song. Why does this always happen? That seems to be the last song is always a piano one. Is it to like make it seem like it was more better than it was?
Really tapped
the whole
into
album.
like some pop music conspiracy here. Like there's some Illuminati thing to why every album ends with a piano song.
I mean, Train, this,
John Mayall,
and plenty others. I just
Julia Byrne.
No, true, yeah. That's just the ones we've covered, and also Brantley Gilbert. Oh God.
Yeah.
What we need people to take more influence from Flo Morrissey and Matthew E. White and just like end their albums with an Indian jam.
I'd prefer that.
Yeah. So what would you rate it, Alex?
I'm gonna be generous again and give it 6.5 because look, it was completely listenable. We're being somewhat negatively tinged, but there was no point in this where I didn't enjoy it, at least somewhat. And it had some great songs like Distraction and Advice I really liked, and you know, first half of the album I thought was pretty solid pop, and if they shortened it and I don't know, made the songs more interesting, I guess, even though that's unfair to say if it's not possible. Could be a lot better. I think she still has some potential and could make better music. So 6.5.
How about you, Cam?
I'm gonna give it a 6, and I wasn't even done saying like, I didn't have a whole lot more to say, but just like, I hated Too Much as well, but like I don't know anything about Aaliyah, I'm probably mispronouncing her name, but like, I just hated that song because of the too much, 3 much, 4 much. I'm just like, this is so stupid.
Yeah.
It's really bad lyrics.
That's because that's where the lyrics of the original are so good, where she's saying, I'm much more than a woman, more than a lover, more than a soulmate or something, which is, you know, not amazing either, but she's just trying to move away from... Yeah, those lyrics are just... Well, I mean, it's just, there's no reason for that song to exist. It doesn't do anything better than the original. Or whatever it took.
It's a 6 for me. That's my rating. Like, I feel like there probably is something there. She's absolutely talented, and the sound of this album was fine overall, but you know, I have very limited experience with modern R&B, and it falls into a lot of modern trappings that I don't like about, you know, popular radio music right now. But you know, I can't say, I just don't feel comfortable saying, you know, I don't like this album because it has this element, when for all I know that's just like what every R&B album these days does. But you know, she has potential is the important thing, but it was just kind of wasted and not fully realized on this album.
Yeah, so I gave it a 6 as well. I thought that for the most part that the album was fine to listen to. I think it was repetitive. I think there was a couple of songs that were just kind of boring and filler and kind of obnoxious, but there were quite a few songs that I enjoyed and I thought that I would listen to again. So I don't know, I think there's some minor work that has to be done, like removing some tracks, making it a little bit shorter, some songwriting stuff, but I think for the most part, this for a debut album, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in to Busted Speakers. We hope you liked this video. If you did, then like and subscribe. Let us know how you feel about this album in the comments below, and check us out on social media.